Hey Artnerds, so today I'm going to be working with the Canson Artboards. We have the watercolor artboard, we have the illustration artboard, and we have the mixed media artboard. Today I want to see if I can run it through my large format Canson printer, a Pro 9000 Mark II, not Canson, Canon printer. Apologies. So I have run all kinds of different papers through this printer. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I thought since the Canon, trying to get it to focus, I apologize. The Canson Artboard is thicker than your average watercolor paper. I thought it'd be interesting to see if I can get it to run through the printer today. So I've talked about my large format printer on numerous occasions, and I will link those in the description and in the cards if you guys are curious. I want to talk a little bit about the Canson Watercolor Artboard. I've had the opportunity to work with these a few times, and recently Strathmore sent me this pack to play around with to help me prepare for hands-on creativity, which is a large kind of art supply event held at the Nashville, Tennessee Plaza, and I'm being partnered with Plaza this year. With Strathmore this year. I'm really excited about it, and since they recently joined forces with Canson, they sent me some Canson goodies to experiment with and to get familiar with. So I talk about this and I experiment with these in one of my Power Hour art streams, which I will also link in the description below. But I want to try printing on this and then try inking it and then watercoloring it. And if I can't print on it, I'm going to do a graphite transfer technique. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is that the watercolor artboard is pretty thick. And what it is it's a piece of cellulose watercolor paper. I think it's their Canson Montval laminated to a thicker piece of archival chipboard to give it strength and stability. So this is supposed to be ideal for plein air painting, going outside and painting where maybe you don't want to bring a block and maybe you don't want to stretch your watercolor paper, you just want to be able to do outdoor sketching. I think it could also be really good for watercolor commission artists, particularly those who work conventions. So that's kind of the angle I'm going to be examining these artboards from a convention artist / comic artist standpoint. So to be able to run it through our printer, we have to remove it from its pad, and it's really sturdily glued on one side, so you may want to use an X-Acto blade for removal. And everybody's favorite hand cam. I'm going to be attempting to print this illustration from my 2018 Inktober series onto the paper. I would like to ink it with FW acrylic ink and either a dip pen or a brush pen, and then I'd like to watercolor on top of it. So since we're attempting to print on a heavy artboard, I'm going to change a few of my settings. Normally I have it set to print on plain paper, which allows me to print kind of draft quality blue lines. This time I'm going to try board paper and adjust the settings until hopefully I find something that will work. And we're also going to be doing front loading, since that's what this particular printer, that's the method used for printing on watercolor papers, archival papers, thicker, heavier art papers that can't go through the back feed. So unfortunately on this setting, we really can only print with high quality. You can go into main and adjust some of the print settings. So we went into main and then we went into, let me show you. So we went to custom, we went to set, and we can go from fine to fast. I don't actually want high quality, but it won't let me change it. So we're just gonna go with this. So hit OK. Back over here. Back to here, border paper, custom size is 9x12, 1 copy, paper source is front tray. And it wants me to change my paper size, which I'm not really familiar with what they mean by art letter. So let's try art letter. Since that was what was recommended, we'll see what we get. and we hit OK. And we're gonna see what changes up here. So that's 8.5 by 10.944 inches. That would be almost like actual letter size. Actually, I'm not really happy with that. So we're gonna go back into print settings and we're just gonna try plain paper. And we're gonna see if we can get it to take the plain paper. So I'm gonna change it to plain paper and then go ahead and print it. Okay, so at this stage it wants us to feed the paper and print OK. So I was able to get the board in. I apologize for the focusing, and I'm gonna hit OK. Now we need to see if it can accept it. All right, looking good. Now it's gonna throw an error. I'm used to this, so I just hit the resume button. So that is the error. I hit resume. Now we're gonna see. Ooh, not a good noise. Oh, it looks like it was able to do it. So, oh, that's not good. Ugh, gross. Look at all these nasty black streaking lines. That happens when I print thicker boards with this printer. So, it was able to accept it. Unfortunately, we get some nasty border boards. So I'm gonna try printing another of the same and see if I still get that. Now, what I wanna point out is I have abused the heck out of this printer. If you have this printer or the newer model, this may not be an issue for you. Or it may be an issue for you. If you are also encountering this issue, let me know down in the comments. If something other than cleaning, because I've done a few cleanings and I've replaced the ink heads and all that other jazz, and it doesn't do this on thinner papers, just 300-pound watercolor and heavier weight papers like that. If you know how to fix this issue, let me know in the comments below as well. Round 2, electric boogaloo. And perhaps one of the solutions would be running through some cheaper chipboard, like from the back of like a pad of sketchbook paper or something. Or maybe I'm just really breaking the heck out of my machine. I don't know, but I feel like we never accomplish anything unless we try new things. And sometimes trying new things means failure, or negative results, or wasting things. So, okay, that one's looking a lot cleaner. There's still a little bit of schmutz, but that's looking a lot cleaner. So I'm betting if I ran some chipboard through this, we could clean it off. Okay, so that's the new one. That's the old one. I'm gonna do, you know what? I'm gonna do one more, mostly because Strathmore sent me this, so it's not like I'm not trying to be wasteful, but I am trying to solve the problem, and I'm in a position that a lot of you guys might not be, where I can afford to do this because this was sent to me, whereas if you purchase this pad yourself, you might not be able to. So I'm happy to do some of the troubleshooting so I can figure out a solution and get back to you. And I also just don't happen to have any heavier chipboard that I could run through my computer. Okay. Alright, so unfortunately, I still have some schmutz. Maybe slightly less than the second draft, and a lot less than the first draft. These two are actually not going to go to waste. I have something in plan for this. I'm going to consider this an acceptable level. Now for our other two, our mixed media paper and our illustration paper, I have something else in mind. I am going to do a graphite transfer with these. So since I never really changed the settings to board settings with the watercolor artboard, I'm just going to go ahead and print them, and I'm using the, oh wait, no, I need to change that. But I'm going to use the back feed for the printer, so it's going to throw an error, yeah, and I'm going to cancel the printing. I'm going to go ahead and change this. And I think I've talked about this pretty in depth in some of my other videos. So like I said, I'll just link those. This is really just me figuring out how I can, so when it comes to art, it's all about working. You should definitely try new processes, and I do try to try new processes all the time. I share that here with you guys, but I also try to find ways to utilize the processes that already work with me with new materials. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. So I really rely on my printer because I don't always like sketching directly on the paper. Sometimes I like to do digital sketches. Sometimes I prefer to sketch in my sketchbook and then scan it. So I like to work in a variety of different ways. So I don't know if y'all can see this illustration, but it's got a lot. I'm doing a graphite transfer for this one. I want to check the image size real quick. Everything, looks a little bit big. Fix. No, gotta go. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So doing an image transfer with this one means I don't have to transfer all of the blue in the background that was originally black. And we're just doing regular printing. And we're gonna apply graphite to the back and just do a graphite transfer technique. So it's all about finding a method that works for you and allows you to work comfortably. And I can fairly safely say that if you have a heavy duty, large format printer like the Canon Pro 9000 Mark II, please focus, thank you, you should be able to run your Canson plein air artboards through your printer to print your blue lines or whatever color lines you need to print. So I will see you guys in my next video where we're actually working on these artboards to create art. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, useful, and informative for you guys. I also want to thank Strathmore for sending me the Canson plein air artboards, the watercolor, the mixed media, and the illustration artboards, because that allows me to do this sort of experimentation and share it with my wonderful viewers here on YouTube. I do not have any sort of sponsorship beyond Patreon at this time, so if you like what I do and you want to help me continue to do it, if you want to support a very small YouTube channel, you can head on over to patreon.com/natosoup and join the art nerd community. Your $2 a month goes a really long way to purchasing ink for the printers, for purchasing papers for reviews, and for purchasing just general miscellanea. So thank you guys so much for your support, and if you like this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, but do that after you've read the description because I often answer questions in my description. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye guys!